Good evening. You're watching the News at 6 with me, Ishan Russell. The News at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories, and we'll be filling you in on them over the next half hour. But first, the headlines that we're tracking right now. Security alert in many cities on Mahashivratri. Home Minister Rajnath Singh reviews situation after intelligence reports state that 10 suspected JEM terrorists entered Gujarat. Enforcement Directorate files money laundering case against Vijay Mallya and Chief Financial Officer of Kingfisher Airlines, both charged with a default of 900 crore rupee loan in conspiracy with IDBI bank officials. RBI to share FDI-related information with IB and RAW to check black money from entering country. Move comes after Cabinet Secretariat expresses concern over companies in tax havens investing in the country. And North Korea retaliates against tough UN sanctions, threatens to launch indiscriminate nuclear strikes on US and South Korea, says it will turn Washington and Seoul into flames and ashes. Our top story this evening, several metro cities were on high alert across the country over intelligence inputs that 10 suspected Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists entered India from Pakistan through Gujarat. According to intelligence reports from Pakistan, while the terror suspects entered India through Gujarat, there was no information about their subsequent movement. Home Minister Rajnath Singh reviewed the security situation at a high-level meeting.
Security tightened across India on Mahashivratri. The alert follows intelligence reports about a possible militant attack during the festival celebrations. On Saturday, the Intelligence Bureau reported that as many as 10 militants sneaked into Gujarat to carry out strikes. Later, reports claimed the group might have entered the national capital, Delhi. On Monday, security checks were carried out at all prominent places in Gujarat like airports, railway stations, bus stations, temples and marketplaces in Ahmedabad and Vadodara. Gujarat Chief Minister Anandiben Patel took stock of the security arrangements.
ये इनपुट मिलने के बाद फौरन गुजरात के तमाम जिला पुलिस अधीक्षक, कमिश्नर श्री, रेंजेस को आगाह किया गया, सावधान किया गया। तब से और अविरत अब भी और आगे भी सारी गुजरात पुलिस की टीम जो है लगातार कॉम्बिंग ऑपरेशन कर रही है।
In Gujarat, National Security Guard commandos and police personnel have been deployed at the famous Somnath temple. In Maharashtra, the state police has issued alerts to ensure maximum security of persons and offices. In Uttar Pradesh, heavy security was deployed at the Kashi Vishwanath temple in Varanasi. The police are also keeping a close eye on the Kavariyas over fears that they may be targeted by terrorists. In Punjab, Shivratri celebrations were reported to be muted after the threat. Police forces in Punjab and Himachal Pradesh have suggested that a group of terrorists may have reached Jammu a few days ago and might be hiding out in the Sidra area.
गुजरात में आतंकवादी घुसे हैं ऐसा इनपुट्स कल हमें मिला है और कल चीफ सेक्रेटरी के अध्यक्षता में सभी अधिकारियों की एक मीटिंग भी हुई थी और पूरे राज्य में हाई अलर्ट जारी किया गया है।
Media reports have claimed that Pakistan's NSA Nasir Khan Janjua had informed NSA Ajit Doval that militants might sneak past the border. Following this, Doval sent a note to the IB warning of a possible attack.
तरह तरह की जगह पे चेकिंग हो रहा है, नाइट चेकिंग हो रहा है, व्हीकल चेकिंग हो रहा है और जो भी वाइटल इंस्टॉलेशंस है उनके जो सिक्योरिटी हेड है और उनके जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव हेड है उनको इन्फॉर्म किया गया है। सेंट्रल की जो एजेंसी है, BSF है, आर्मी है, कोस्ट गार्ड है, एयरफोर्स है, तो पोर्ट अथॉरिटीज़ है, सबके साथ टाई अप करके अपना सिक्योरिटी अपरेटस, अपनी इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी और आउटर सिक्योरिटी को टाइटन अप करने के लिए उनके साथ कोशिश चालू है।
A couple of days ago, the Border Security Force found an abandoned Pakistani trawler in the Sar Creek area in Kutch region. Though the occupants of the boat managed to escape, security forces did not find anything suspicious on the boat. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the one-man Judicial Commission of Inquiry that went into the 2013 communal riots in Muzaffarnagar in Uttar Pradesh has blamed intelligence failure and laxity on the part of the police for the violence. 62 people were killed in the riots that was triggered after 2 men were murdered by a youth from a minority community in August 2013. The report is, however, silent on the role of Akhilesh Yadav government in the spread of the riots. The Justice Vishnu Sahai Commission's 700-page report was tabled in the State Assembly on Sunday. The report was critical of the media, accusing it of putting out exaggerated reports and spreading rumours that fuel violence. Opposition parties have reacted sharply to the report. The BJP has demanded a CBI probe, stating the panel's report is incomplete. The Samajwadi Party, on the other hand, said that the media is equally culpable. Other parties have said that Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav cannot be absolved of responsibilities as law and order is a state subject.
देखिए, अफसरों की भी गलती है, अफसरों की ही, बस यही तो है ना। आप आधा सच बताते हैं और आधा सच पूरे झूठ से खतरनाक होता है। मुजफ्फरनगर में आपने दंगा होता हुआ दिखाया, जलते हुए घर दिखाए, जलाने वाले आपने नहीं दिखाए, क्यों? हालांकि जलाने वालों की भी फोटो है आपके पास। आपने हत्या दिखाई, हत्यारा नहीं दिखाया, हालांकि हत्यारे की फोटो भी है आपके पास।
कि हम नहीं कह सकते कि इस रिपोर्ट को प्रभावित नहीं किया जा सकता, इसलिए हम इसको संदेह से परे नहीं कह सकते हैं। पूरी तरीके से सरकारी मशीनरी का फेल्योर था, सरकार की भी नीयत साफ नहीं थी। सरकार के समय समय पर ऐसे कई उदाहरण मिलते हैं कि जिसमें सरकार की अनदेखी भी थी और सरकार की नीयत के ऊपर भी प्रश्न उठाए गए, लेकिन सरकार ने उसका कभी कोई समुचित उत्तर नहीं दिया।
What's coming out in the media seems to indicate that there is an attempt to paint the blame only on the bureaucracy, which is not a correct approach, because the bureaucracy will function as per the political leadership, or it would mean that the political leadership has no control over the bureaucracy and there is no governance at all. It can only be one of the two.
मैं ये समझता हूं कि जो उस प्रदेश का मुख्य कर्ता धर्ता है वो मुख्यमंत्री हुआ करता है, जो कि अखिलेश यादव हैं। उनके रहते जब ये घटनाएं घटी हैं, मेरी निगाह में सबसे बड़ा दोष मुख्यमंत्री का बनता है।
जिस तरह से भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोग लोकसभा चुनाव के बाद निरंतर इस प्रयास में थे कि जो पोलराइजेशन करने का था, सांप्रदायिक जहर घोलने का कार्यक्रम है, वो चालू रहना चाहिए। और ये सब पूरा का पूरा दंगा उसी के पूरी तहत हुआ है। ये भी हकीकत है अपनी जगह कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी इसके लिए पूरी तरह से दोषी है, लेकिन ये भी हकीकत है कि समाजवादी पार्टी उस दंगा रोकने में, उनको लोगों को सुरक्षा देने में पूरी तरह से नाकामयाब रही है। ये भी एक किस्म से हकीकत है।
In a major setback for liquor baron Vijay Mallya, the Debt Recovery Tribunal says he cannot withdraw the $75 million received from Diago till the case is disposed of. The DRT said this while giving out its order on the SBI's plea seeking the lending bank's first right over the money. Mallya is to get the money, almost 515 crore rupees, from Diageo under an agreement that he will not buy any shares of the Diageo-controlled United Spirits Limited for the next 5 years. Also, as part of the arrangement, Mallya recently stepped down as USL chairman. Earlier, the Enforcement Directorate registered a money laundering case against Mallya and the chief financial officer of now-defunct Kingfisher Airlines. The case was registered on the basis of a CBI probe into alleged willful default of 900 crore rupees loan in conspiracy with IDBI bank officials. Now, the Reserve Bank of India will share FDI-related information with the country's intelligence agencies, the IB and the RAW. This to check black money from entering the country. The move comes after the Cabinet Secretariat expressed concern over companies and tax havens investing in the country. The Cabinet Secretariat had suggested that the Central Economic Intelligence Bureau under the Finance Ministry should maintain a database of such entities and investments, a move that was later rejected. This, they said, would help us keep track of such companies as a source of funding. The move assumes significance as the government expects a rise in FDI inflow into the country owing to its attempts to liberalize and promote ease of doing business. FDI enters the country either through the automatic route, which is monitored by the RBI, or through the Foreign Investment Promotion Board. Now, people in Bengaluru woke up to a horrifying sight on Monday as thousands of dead fish rose to the surface and washed ashore on one of the most popular lakes in the city. Tons of untreated sewage water is released into the lake every day, severely depleting oxygen levels in the Ulsur lake.
Thousands of dead fish washed ashore on Bengaluru's oldest Ulsur lake in the early hours of Monday. Bangaloreans who have been struggling to clean up the city's polluted lakes are shocked at the appearance of the dead fish. While the actual cause is not known yet, experts claim untreated sewage pumped from the city's drains directly into the lake has depleted oxygen levels.
All the sewage from up Bangalore, East Bangalore, comes down in this drain which comes to Ulsur Lake. It's a natural flow. To separate the sewage from getting into the lake, they have laid on 4 pipes by which the water flows into that. Only when it rains, the good water rises up after a certain level and it flows into the lake. Unfortunately now, the entire sewage has got into the lake. Oxygen levels have depleted. The fish has died.
Ulsur Lake, a tourism hotspot and a popular boating site, has for many years been choked with water hyacinth, with the government making little efforts to clear it. The periodic water sampling of the lake waters revealed extremely high amounts of phosphorus and other inorganic chemical compounds. But the authorities are blaming each other for the sad state of affairs.
First it was under BBMP, the maintenance was okay. Now again we are trying to take under our control, but the fishery department are not allowing that. They have given separate contract to the other people for breeding purpose. As you know, the water is already little polluted. It's polluted. Some chemical process has to be done for the oxygen content to increase. But before that only, the breeding, because of the commercial purpose, they have taken into so much of breeding that the oxygen content is getting more lower and lower.
Despite the high pollution level in the lake, Ulsur is one of the cleaner water bodies in Bengaluru. Ironically, 32 tractors full of waste were cleared from the 108 acres long lake in June last year. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time now to take a look at what else is making news around the country nationwide. A militant was killed in an encounter in South Kashmir's Kulgam district. The gun battle started after security personnel came under heavy fire from militants hiding in a village in the Kulgam district. The officers were conducting a search operation after receiving information of 2 militants hiding in the area. Three people were killed and 3 people were injured and 1 was killed after a minor fire broke out following a steam leak in INS Virat's boiler room. Chief Engineering Mechanic Ashu Singh was critical after suffering smoke inhalation. He was shifted to the Naval Hospital at Goa, where he suffered a cardiac arrest and succumbed to his injury. The other 3 are under treatment and are out of danger. Former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram claimed that he is the real target of the allegations of undisclosed assets levelled against his son Karti. Chidambaram further said it was obvious to everyone that it was a planted story. The senior Congress leader said if the Modi government had found anything on Karti about holding undisclosed assets, he would transfer them to the government for a token amount of 1 rupee. Union HRD Minister Smriti Irani's office denied that she left without helping an accident victim on the highway on Saturday. A doctor was killed while his young nephew was injured in the mishap. She also rejected the charge that the car hit the doctor's bike or was part of her convoy. His children alleged in an FIR that the doctor was killed after he was hit for the second time by a car in her convoy. The doctor's teenage daughter also alleged that Smriti Irani ignored their appeals for help, contradicting the minister's tweet after the accident. Time for us to take a short break. That's what's more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to India's World. Humanitarian aid is just a pretext to get the arms into it.
NATO is built on the philosophy that if Russia attacks, then we will come to your assistance.
Mobilizing for the coming elections or something of that sort. So there are other kinds of political signals.
Watch experts debate the future of the ceasefire in Syria in India's World on Rajya Sabha television. Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. a salute to diversity, promoting public discourse, events that motivate, inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m.
Gyan chopper is the ancient version of Indian snakes and ladders. This intriguing game was popular among the old, the young and the rulers as well. The chopper has its origin in the Jain philosophy. It tells the story of virtue. Each square in turn also narrates some message of wisdom.
Hello and welcome. I'm Amritanshu Rai. You're watching Constitutionally Yours.
इस तरह का वातावरण बनाना पड़ेगा कि महिलाएं भी स्वयं आगे आए।
एमपी एमएलएस की चिंता है कि शिक्षा डेमोक्रेसी में धीरे धीरे आए या तेजी से आए।
क्यों नहीं हिंदुस्तान में कॉमन सिविल कोड लागू की जाए?
ये नहीं हो सकता कि सारी के सारी पॉपुलेशन एक सरीकी एक कल्चर में ढल जाए।
Join us as we try to understand contemporary issues related to the Constitution. Watch Constitutionally Yours on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Now, 2 Indian sailors died and 3 people were injured due to a fire in a vessel in Yemen. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj shared the tragic news on social media platform Twitter and expressed her condolences to the bereaved families. The injured have been admitted to a hospital in Oman. Meanwhile, an Indian priest who went missing after last week's attack on a care home run in Yemen is being held captive by Islamic State militants. A 56-year-old from Kerala's Kottayam district was abducted after gunmen attacked a convent and nursing home for the elderly run by Kolkata-based Missionaries of Charity. At least 16 people, including a nun from Jharkhand, were killed in the attack. While no group has claimed responsibility for Friday's attack, officials have blamed IS for killing 16 people, including a nun of Indian origin. Now, the Korean Peninsula is again in focus after the US and South Korea started their largest ever military drill. North Korea says it sees the annual war games as a rehearsal for invasion and has threatened indiscriminate nuclear strikes on the two allies. The belligerent rhetoric by Pyongyang comes days after it was punished by the United Nations for its recent nuclear test and rocket launch.
그 기회를 놓치지 않고 정의의 통일 성전으로 우리 민족의 최대 수건을 성취할 것이다. 미국과 그 추정 세력들의 핵전쟁 도발 광기에 전면 대응하기 위한 총공세에 진입할 것.
North Korea threatening indiscriminate nuclear strikes on the US and South Korea, saying it will turn Washington and Seoul into flames and ashes. On Monday, North Korean TV said US will be held accountable for igniting the war. The warning comes in reaction to the US-South Korean military drills that started on Monday. South Korea's military said this year's war games will be the largest yet staged.
부터 2016년 키 리졸브 및 포이글 연습이 한국군 30여만 명, 미군 17,000여 명이 참가하는 최대 규모로 시작됩니다.
Experts say that while belligerence by North Korea is typical around the time of annual military exercises, tensions this year are even higher than normal after the United Nations imposed sanctions on Pyongyang. Pyongyang says the drills that run to the end of April are rehearsals for invading. China has also said that it was concerned about the military drills.
中方对此次军演表示严重关切。中国与朝鲜半岛山水相连，中国在半岛稳定方。
Although experts say that large-scale military strikes by Kim dynasty is highly unlikely, there is also considerable debate about whether North Korea is even capable of the strikes it threatens. However, tensions in Korean Peninsula continues to escalate. Relations between North Korea and Seoul and Washington have worsened since North Korea's nuclear test in January and a long-range rocket test last month, which the West says was a test of banned ballistic missile technology. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, leaders from the European Union and Turkey are set to convene an emergency summit in Brussels. On the agenda is the continent's rapidly escalating refugee problem. The UNHRC has called it a humanitarian crisis.
In order to prevent a repeat of the chaotic humanitarian crisis on the Greece-Macedonia border, Turkish Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu, German Chancellor Angela Merkel and Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte met in Brussels to discuss ways of stemming the migrant flow to Europe ahead of European Union Emergency Summit. On the Idomeni border, which opens rarely, the number of stranded migrants continues to swell. Rows and rows of tents dot the vast fields at the border. At least 12,000 migrants are camping out. According to the Greek police department, only 337 passed in the last 24 hours.
Things are getting more desperate each passing day. We have at least 1,000 people arriving here. Now the number is 13,000. When I arrived here 3 days ago, it was 9, and you can see how quickly this population is growing.
Meanwhile, Greece is pressing for solidarity with refugees and fair burden sharing among European Union states at the Emergency European Union Summit with Turkey. The European Union emergency meet aims to set a clear limit on the number of asylum seekers. European Union countries will accept to help stem a mass influx of refugees that is severely testing European cohesion.
I'm here from 15 days, yeah. Just wait. I can't do anything. I can't do. Just sleep up. I want to open the borders for everyone to go.
And I want them to let them know that there is not. We don't have any. You don't have any refugees crisis. Because we are just 13,000 people, and Europe have over 200 million people.
Millions of people have reached Europe through illegal routes in 2015, many fleeing economic and political turmoil in the Middle East, North Africa and Asia. Most of them came through Turkey, which borders Syria, Iran and Iraq. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Some international news now and Global Buzz. Indonesian President Joko Widodo on Monday met Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir and Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif. The meeting discussed Palestinian issues on the sidelines of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation Summit. During his opening speech at the summit, Widodo said Indonesia supported a two-state solution to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. One person was killed and 2 others were injured in a shooting at a business in Western Sydney. The New South Wales police said they found 3 persons suffering gunshot wounds after responding to reports of a shooting at a sign-making business. The standoff brought the area to a standstill for nearly 6 hours. Islamic State claimed responsibility for the suicide attack with an explosive-laden truck that killed at least 60 people and injured 70 in Baghdad on Sunday. A website posting on the Amna news agency stated that the Islamic State was behind the attack. At least 8 people were killed and 21 injured when a suicide bomber blew himself up at a court complex in northwestern Pakistan. The bomber attacked as lawyers and litigants were arriving during the morning rush hour. The Taliban claimed it was a revenge for one of its members being hanged last week. Some sports now, and the 6th edition of the World T20 is set to get underway from tomorrow in India. 8 teams will face off in the qualifier stage for a place in the Super 10. The main tournament will start off on the 15th of March with hosts India taking on New Zealand. But with the match with Pakistan still under shadows, Pakistan's 3-member team is in India to assess the security at Dharamshala. It will submit a report to Pakistan government, which will then decide about the team's participation in the tournament.
The 6th edition of the World T20 will get underway on March 8. 8 teams, including 2 test nations, will compete for the 2 Super 10 spots. The qualifying stage will see the 8 teams divided into 2 groups. Group A features Bangladesh, Ireland, Netherlands and Oman, while Afghanistan, Hong Kong, Scotland and Zimbabwe make up Group B. The opening day's qualifiers will see Zimbabwe and Hong Kong competing and a clash between Scotland and Afghanistan. Both matches will be played in Nagpur. Each team plays all the other in its group once, after which the top team from each group will progress to the Super 10 stage. The 2 teams will join the main groups consisting England, South Africa, Sri Lanka and West Indies in Group A and India, Pakistan, Australia and New Zealand in Group B. Bangladesh are the favourites to advance into the Super 10 stage from their group, following their superb performance in the recently concluded Asia Cup, in which they finished runners-up. The tournament proper will begin March 15th when India takes on New Zealand. The hosts will then take on arch-rivals Pakistan on March 19th, a match that is still under shadows. Their other matches will be against a qualifier on March 13th, followed by their final group match against Australia in Mohali on March 27th. India are the favourites to lift the title for a second time after a series of good performances in the T20 format. The hosts, however, will be wary of ODI World Champions Australia, who are eyeing their maiden title win at the tournament. Defending champions Sri Lanka suffered a minor setback with injury-ravaged pacer Lasith Malinga stepping down as the team's captain just ahead of the tournament. 35 matches will be played in the tournament, with Kolkata hosting the final on April 3rd. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Summer sports action and Sports Beat. Yogeshwar Dutt will spearhead a 17-member wrestling team for the Asian Olympic qualification tournament to be held in the Astana town of Kazakhstan from the 18th to the 20th of March. The team has 5 men freestyle and 6 Greco-Roman wrestlers and 6 female wrestlers. Narsingh Yadav is the lone wrestler to have booked an Olympic berth for India in the 74kg division. World number 2 Andy Murray continued his Davis Cup victory, defeating a 5-set epic against Japan's Kei Nishikori. With the win, Britain advances to the quarterfinals of the tournament. Murray saw off Nishikori in nearly 5 hours, 7-5, 7-6, 3-6, 4-6, 6-3. Britain will now take on Serbia, who beat Kazakhstan 3-2 in their Davis Cup first-round tie. Barcelona titled their grip on La Liga title after a comprehensive 4-0 win over Eibar to open up an 11-point lead at the top. Monir El Hadidi tapped home the opener from Luis Suarez's cross before Messi doubled Barca's advantage with a brilliant individual effort just before half-time. Messi doubled his tally from the penalty spot before Suarez lashed home from the fourth 6 minutes from time. Well, that's all from us. Goodbye.